I just care about what Clint Kubiak's going to do, and hopefully that's going to be a very, very positive thing for the Saints. And again, like I said at the first, with the first bite, like I'm good with Clint Kubiak, but I don't really care about Gary at this point. Allen was then asked, the last question here on the offense was like, okay, do you now have to draft differently because you've got a different offensive system, a different offensive philosophy in the building?
We're in the process of having our February draft meetings with the scouts, with Jeff Ireland, Mickey Loomis, myself. We're in there talking through these guys, and we had a chance to get the offensive coaching staff in here over the weekend and really sit down with the scouts and with the people in the draft room and kind of go through, look, this is what we're looking for at the quarterback position. This is what we're looking for in an offensive tackle. This is what we're looking for at the receiver position. So I think that's been great for our group. And I think we'll have to continue to have those discussions as we go throughout, this draft process, and really not just the draft process, but free agency also.
I hope what they're looking for in a quarterback, Derek Carr's got, because he's the quarterback for 2 more years. So I hope that's option number 1 there. But yeah, I do think that you got to do fresh set of offensive eyes in there. And Jeff Ireland's going to call the shots from a drafting perspective. Loomis will be right there, and Dennis Allen will be there as well. You never know exactly who's wielding the biggest stick in that room. I think we all figured it was Sean Payton once upon a time. I don't know that Dennis Allen's got that much credibility in the room. Certainly a lot, but not maybe what Sean Payton may have had. But yeah, I think with a new offensive set of eyes comes a new thought process on who you want to draft on the offensive side of things. The Saints drafted Cam Jordan once upon a time, and he's been a phenomenal player, one of the best in the history of the franchise, and potentially a guy that's going to get a gold jacket one day. But last year was not very productive for Cam Jordan, and Dennis Allen spoke to his former All-Pro defensive end and what he's still got left in the tank.
I think the thing that I would say about Cam, probably where the dip occurred a little bit is just his ability to finish on the quarterback. I think he was still effective in kind of being able to get around the quarterback. He just didn't finish as well on the quarterback. And so I think that's one of the things that we've got to continue to look at and work at. I think he's still one of the better run players in our league at the defensive end position. But look, let's be honest. I mean, as we all get older, we start to slow down a little bit. I don't think he's at that point where I think he's still got some good football left. And I think it's up to us to try to find the positions and the places to put him in to allow him to still be successful, and so the other thing is he injured his ankle at some point in the season. I think it might have been the Minnesota week. And look, he's such a tough competitor that he just battled through and fought through it. But I think it was probably, 6 weeks before he started feeling more like himself.
I agree with Dennis on a couple of points there that Cam did show up at times around the quarterback, and that's one thing. And I agree that he's still a solid run player, but I would submit that's a little less important today than it was 15 years ago. You still have to play the run. There's no doubt about it. But you need to rush the passer, and that position on the field has to affect the passer. You can't completely neglect run duties, but you've got to get up the field and impact the passer. That creates teams getting behind the sticks. That creates turnovers. It creates poor decisions, tip balls. It just, you have to affect the passer. And Cam didn't really do that very much last year. So it is a big deal, and they need to continue to try to find his replacement. They've got the other side in good hands with Granderson. I don't know what Foskey is ever going to give you, but Cam's less of an asset than he was 2 years ago. I say that with a lot of confidence. So he's part of an aging group of players, whether it's Ramczyk, whether it's Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu, even Marcus May, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara for his position. Like, you've got a lot of guys who are climbing up there in age, and Dennis Allen talked about having older players on this team. The Saints were the oldest roster in the NFL last year.
I think it's a delicate balance, because not only do these players, I'm talking about guys like Cam Jordan. I'm talking about guys like Tyrann Mathieu. I'm talking about guys like Demario Davis. We're speaking specifically on the defensive side of the ball. Look, they can still play, and they can still play at a winnable level. And it's all those other intangibles that they can bring to your football team that don't necessarily always show up on the stat sheet, but they show up in terms of the culture and the way you go about doing things. And so, look, it's a delicate balance, and it's hard because these guys have been such great players for such a long time. That's the challenging part of this business. But as long as they can play and play at a level that allows us to be able to win, then I think they're valuable pieces to our team.
The question is, how long are they valuable? And you just never really know. I would bet DeMario Davis has an awesome year next year. Would I be shocked if he was noticeably down a step? No. I still think Tyron's down a step and a half. That's just what it looks like to me. He forced some turnovers late in the year, which was good, but he gets beat to the edge some, not quite as quick as he once was. He's such an instinctive player in his prime that you notice when he's not quite getting to where he used to get. So, and these guys are going to be with the Saints because there's no sense in getting rid of them. There's too much money attached. So they're going to be part of the team, but you do have to wonder, while these guys are some of your best players on defense, while you still have Lattimore, he's certainly in there, and Granderson certainly qualifies, and Adebo and Taylor are young, and you feel like Brazil's coming along, but you're counting on these guys a lot, and at some point, 100% certainty, at some point, they're going to fall off. You're getting closer by the day, you just don't know exactly where it is. I think with a little more certainty where it is with Tyrann Mathieu and Cam Jordan than you do DeMario Davis, who's an all-pro at this point. But it's coming, and the Saints have got to get younger. There's no question about that, and I think there will be an emphasis on that in terms of trying to figure out how to get some cheaper and younger players. So that's our thoughts on the Saints here on this Wednesday. When we come back, let's talk a little SEC hoops. Where does LSU stack up in the Southeastern Conference? I'll tell you next.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You can find them at onebathandclosets.com. I always tell you to go to the website because it's such a helpful tool. You can see pictures of their great work in the bathrooms with full-scale renovations and tub-to-shower conversions. You can see what they've done with closets, which are so functional, customized to their clients' needs, as well as gorgeous on the outside. You can see testimonials of their satisfied clients. I read one of those to you last week. And you can request a free consultation so David and his team can come in for free and tell you what they can do. They'll start with a questionnaire. What do you have? What would you like? What do you want? Okay, here's what we can do. They'll show you. And if you're worried about paying for it, well, they got financing options available. So check out the website, onebathandclosets.com. Get that free consultation and have them come into your home and do something fantastic. They'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets at onebathandclosets.com.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Brack, your #1 park system in the nation.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
Moscona inviting you to join us for Wednesday Hump Day AFR, presented by Pluckers, Tigers, and Wildcats. LSU welcomes Kentucky to the PMAC. We're previewing it. Join us 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
A lot of the show in the rearview mirror, just 25 minutes left to go, but thanks for hanging out with us here at 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got half the work week in the rearview mirror. Big basketball game tonight between LSU and Kentucky. I broke it down at the top of the show, Matthew Bruni, at the top of hour number 2 at 2 o'clock, so you can go back and catch any of that if you're looking to get ready for LSU and Kentucky. I haven't done this a lot this season because I feel like there's been some fleeting interest in basketball around here over the last 3 months. I think that's fair with all the stuff that goes on with football into basketball season, with recruiting and the bowl game, and then everybody's all fired up for baseball. And I'm not trying to sit here and feed you something that you don't necessarily want all the time, but I do think that some LSU fans realized that Saturday was a really good win for the Tigers at South Carolina, and they've got an opportunity to get another one tonight as Kentucky comes into the PMAC. So I feel like today is a decent time to look at the SEC as a whole and see where LSU stacks up. We do this every week in football season, but every once in a while we do it in basketball. Here are some SEC power rankings.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings. When you want the definitive, unquestioned pecking order of the SEC, who do you call? Hunt Palmer. Take it away, Hunt.
I really struggled with number 1. I really did. In fact, I wrote it a certain way and then did a little arrow thing to switch them because I was not that confident. So I'm going with Alabama at number 1. I think they're the best team in the Southeastern Conference. They've won 12 of 14 since losing 3 in a row against Purdue, Creighton, and Arizona. You saw Creighton last night. They're pretty good. Purdue, pretty good. Arizona is pretty good. So not going to hold that against them too much. They've got the best offense in college basketball. I know they went to Knoxville and got blasted, but I still think Bama's the best team in the SEC. Certainly the most difficult to guard at this point. So I've got them at 1. That puts Tennessee at number 2. I fought this one tooth and nail, but Tennessee comes in at number 2. Look, they play A&M in Knoxville on Saturday, and I think they'll win that game. After that, this is what Tennessee's got to finish the season. Home against Auburn, at Alabama, at South Carolina, home for Kentucky. Rick Barnes' team's going to get a real test heading into the SEC tournament and into the postseason. We'll see what they are. They have won 8 SEC games by 10+. They're good on both ends of the floor. It's a good basketball team, but I got Bama 1, Tennessee 2. That brings Auburn to 3. By the way, this is really impressive. I don't know that I was fully aware of this because LSU hadn't played Auburn in a while, but Auburn is number 18 in the country in offensive efficiency and number 7 in the country in defensive efficiency. That's a really, really good basketball team. I know that they had a bumpy go of it in Auburn Arena against Kentucky, and that may be a little frightening for that team that's coming into the PMAC tonight. But Auburn's really good. I've got them at 3. I know Kentucky just got into Auburn and won, but I've still got them behind Auburn. Kentucky's 18-7, 8-4 in league play. The question is this defense real? If what they've done the last week on defense is what they're going to be moving forward, their Final Four good. I just don't know if I quite trust it after a week. I guess we'll see a little bit more tonight. Kentucky's at 4. Florida's at number 5. They have won 7 of their last 8. They beat Kentucky in Rupp Arena. They beat Auburn by 17 points. Todd Golden's team is playing very, very well. They are a tournament team. They look to be turning a little bit of a corner here. LSU had a chance to go down there and steal one late, weren't able to get it done, but Florida comes in at number 5. South Carolina, while their record is good at 9-4 in the league, 21-5 overall, their ranking was good. It's in the top 20. Their last 2 games are a 40-point loss to Auburn on the road and a home loss to LSU. That's not super awesome. But they do play good defense. Outside of that Auburn loss, where they lost by 40 earlier, they haven't allowed 66 or more points since January the 17th. We're now more than a month beyond that. So they're good on defense, but I don't necessarily trust them too much on offense, and that bit them against LSU back on Saturday. So I got South Carolina at 6. Mississippi State is at 7. They're 6-6 in league play. Would it stun you if they didn't get to 8 wins, even though they're already 6-6? It would not stun me. Here's what they've got left. Ole Miss at home tonight. They need to win that game. It's a big one for both of their tournament resumes. They're at LSU, certainly losable. They play Kentucky in Starkville. That's certainly losable. They're at Auburn. They probably will lose that game. They're at A&M. That's losable. And they play South Carolina at home. They're in a shape to make the tournament right now, but they got some work to do down the stretch. Mississippi State's at 7. Ole Miss is at number 8. They're 500 in league play as well. Chris Beard is going to get them playing defense. They're just not great on defense right now. They're a team that needs to score to win, and they've done that some, and they haven't. They're just not complete on both sides. This is where LSU comes in the SEC power rankings at number 9. And quite frankly, if you'd have told me that LSU is going to be the 9th best team in the SEC as of right before Thanksgiving, I'd have gone, that's about right. It could be worse. I don't know if it could be a ton better. And that's where I've got the Tigers right now. LSU does not have a bad loss in league play. Not one. I mean, I'd like to beat A&M at home, but is that an atrocious loss? No, A&M is right there on the bubble to make the tournament. As of yesterday, they were in the tournament. So no bad losses. They're kind of beating the teams they're supposed to beat, and they're losing the teams they're supposed to lose. Nice win against South Carolina, but I've got LSU at number 9. I got A&M right behind them at number 10. Yeah, A&M is kind of the opposite of LSU here. They've beaten Kentucky and Tennessee. That's fantastic. But you got swept by Arkansas, who stinks, and Vanderbilt's even worse, and you lost to them. So just too many bad losses for me for A&M. I got LSU better than A&M at number 9. Georgia at number 11. They were certainly better than this about 3 weeks ago. They've lost 6 games in a row. Free fall in there for Mike White and company. They are now 4-8 in league play. They were 4-2 at one point, and that 4th win was against LSU by a point at the buzzer. Arkansas comes in at number 12. It's kind of stunning to even say out loud after the success they've had the last 3 years, but they're 4-9 in league play. That's 2-0 against A&M. That's 2-9 against everybody else. Trevon Mark's very good for Arkansas. Other than that, not a lot positive for Muss and the boys. Vanderbilt's at 13. Can't have them at 14 because they got 2 league wins. So they were 14th in every football power ranking all year long, and they were 14th in the SEC basketball power ranking that I did like a month ago. But they've climbed the ladders. They're rising in the ranks. They're 13th. Your Vanderbilt Commodores. And to Beck's credit, I think Stack is going to make it to the end of the month. That puts Mizzou at number 14. They are 0-13 in league play, which is really difficult to do. We've seen some LSU basketball teams over the last 10 years that weren't very good, and they managed to get to 2 or 3 wins. This team has not won one. And Dennis Gates had a press conference after last night's loss and used the F word a couple of times, which is not very nice. But if you're 0-13, I guess I'll give you a break on that one. Those are your SEC power rankings here on this Wednesday. It's LSU at 9. I think that's fine. And you know what? If they have some upward mobility, sure. If LSU can beat Kentucky, I'd put them above Ole Miss. But right now, I have trouble doing that. I think the Rebels have been a little bit better than the Tigers. So big game tonight. Looking forward to it in the PMAC. I guess I'll give my pick for that game coming up after this timeout, and then we'll have to take it or leave it, and we'll get on down the road. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about our friends at Boudreaux's Electric. Neil and Melissa Boudreaux have run that business for 40 years. You do something for 40 years, I think you know what you're doing. And look, we all think about hurricanes and storms and the power going out, but what if you work from home? A lot of us work from home these days, and if the power goes out, you may not be able to do that. You can fix that with a Generac generator from our friends over there at Boudreaux's Electric. Look, they'll come out, They'll have a full-time Boudreaux's Electric employee install your Generac generator right outside your home. They'll use the finest coppers, wiring, and tubing, and they'll make most of that installation underground, so it's also aesthetically pleasing and not an eyesore outside of your home or your place of business if that's what you're trying to power. Protect yourself from outages. Give yourself the peace of mind that you're going to be able to keep on rolling even if the power in your home or business goes down. That's what the friends at Boudreaux's Electric can do for you. Check them out online. You can see them in Donaldsonville or the new store in Gonzales. That's our friends at Boudreaux's Electric.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of
The Thursday edition of Off the Bench will recap LSU and Kentucky in the PMAC, and we'll talk New Orleans Pelicans as they get back into action following the All-Star break. We'll also be joined by LSU Executive Chef Michael Johnson for our weekly Munchies segment. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
So earlier today, actually at the top of the show, it's almost 2 hours ago, I gave you my thoughts on LSU and Kentucky tonight. Kentucky's really good on offense. They can really score, they can really shoot, and they play fast. LSU needs to try to slow it down, as I talked about. And I mentioned that I thought Trey Hannibal was a huge key in the game for LSU tonight. He is big and physical against a bunch of Kentucky guards who are talented, sharpshooting freshman who he outweighs by 30, 40 pounds. And the same goes for Jordan Wright. I think LSU needs to be as physical as they can be on the offensive side with those Kentucky guards. I think that's your best chance to get them potentially in foul trouble to get to the free throw line, which teams do against Kentucky. They're 287th in the country in free throws allowed per game. And they give away a lot of assists because I think they get beat off the dribble. And that's what LSU's big guards are going to have to do to Antonio Reeves, to DJ Wagner, to Rob Dillingham, to Reed Shepherd. That's, I think, LSU's best course of action. The question is, if they do beat those guys off the bounce, does Onyenso erase all of that? Because he's 7 feet tall and can block 10 shots in a game and has 50 on the year and is playing a little bit more. We'll see. If Kentucky gets on a flamethrower tonight and they make 15 threes, you're going to get run out of the building. But maybe they don't. They miss a few jump shots. Maybe LSU's able to put the ball on the floor and do the things that A&M, who scored 97 on Kentucky, and Georgia, who scored 96 on Kentucky, and Florida, who scored 94 on Kentucky, did, and get this game into the high 70s for LSU. And maybe you can find a way to win. I'll tell you this. If they get into this thing that they've gone into the last 3 weeks where they get down 15, 16, 20 points, it's over. Kentucky is not going to let you back in the game as well as they shoot it. South Carolina will, because they can go on a streak where they can't throw it in the ocean. Kentucky's not going to do that. They're not going to turn it over, and they're going to make shots. You can't fall behind by 20. You need to get a lead and make Kentucky feel like they've got to play a little bit of catch-up. I have been really good at pegging LSU basketball games in the SEC this year. I haven't gotten real aggressive in picking them. I certainly would not have picked them to win on Saturday, but we talked all baseball on Friday out from the box, so I didn't have a chance to pick. Tonight I'm taking LSU. I think LSU is going to find a way at home in front of a good environment to make some clutch plays late, stay in the game. I think LSU wins this thing 78-77, a 1-point dub for the Tigers. Give me LSU tonight. I'll be in there. Can't wait to see it. Beck, let's play some Take It or Leave It.
All right, first one here. Only 58 underclassmen declared for the 2024 NFL Draft, which is half of what the average was from 2016 to 2022. This trend will continue. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. There's money to be had at the collegiate level. I have now referenced twice the story that I gave about a collegiate athlete who had an opportunity to go professional in his or her sport who was going to get $1.5 million. And I know that because my friend is in finance and knows the person who manages that student athlete's money. And that's a real thing. And it's hard to make an NFL roster. And if you don't, well, SOL. Go sell insurance. Go fix cars. Go talk on the radio with me. Like that's you gotta go get a job. So yeah, there's some security in that. You don't feel like you have to take a jump. You can make a little cash. So that's why that's a positive for the game of college football that NIL brings about is better players and are sticking around longer.
All right, next one here. Former LSU star Brandon Bass's son, Brandon Bass Jr., is a class of 2026 four-star prospect out of Florida. Already has an offer from LSU. You feel old. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'll take it. I saw another one. I think Noel Devine Jr. is getting recruited. That's a guy when I was in high school and early college was like lighting up the YouTube sphere with his highlight reel, and now his kid's there. Brandon Bass, former SEC Player of the Year, played a long time in the NBA. That was the back-to-back-to-back Brandon Bass, Glenn Davis, Tyrus Thomas guys that were from Baton Rouge. It's just crazy that the city produced those three guys those 3 years. That's a lot of college points and awards, a lot of NBA years and points and awards. And I feel a little bit old, and hopefully he comes to LSU. If he's a four-star prospect, I would welcome that.
All right, next one here. Coach Stack and Vanderbilt. They're
boys.
1.5-point underdogs against Georgia in Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville tonight. Here comes that third win. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. Georgia's lost 6 in a row.
Absolutely.
I mean, look, this is a team that's playing terribly. You get into Memorial, you get a little Memorial magic. You got you got Magnon slinging it in from all over the place. Sure, Coach Stack, he's going to be better dressed than Mike White. He's going to have the three-piece on. He's going to be all buttoned up. I petitioned earlier in the season that maybe he relaxed that fit a little bit,
but he's not.
He's not going to do it.
Nope.
Mike White will be in the quarter zip tonight. So we'll see what happens. I'll take Vanderbilt. They're playing better than Georgia right now.
Oh, you already know I'm taking that.
I figured that.
Last one here. Coach Cal gets teed up tonight in the PMAC with the Wildcats down 10 in the second half. Take it or leave it.
I hope so. I'll take it. I would love to see it. I like a little animated Cal. I enjoy that. I think I would enjoy getting a beverage with Coach Calipari. I think he's a great recruiter and entertaining. I just don't necessarily respect his basketball coaching, which is a little out of my element, quite frankly. I'm not the guy who should be telling you who's great at that and who's not, but it's just the way I feel. I watch his teams play, and I don't think that it's necessarily a revolutionary style of basketball. I think he spreads the floor out, he recruits a lot of players, and says, go beat those guys. And they do a lot, but they don't do enough for the folks in Lexington right now. So let's hope that LSU gets after him and that Coach Cal and that beautifully gelled hair. He's gone back to the sport coat, by the way. He was quarter zip for a while. He's gone back to the sport coat, as Kentucky coaches are supposed to do. So we'll see him tonight inside the PMAC. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited about getting in there tonight. If you want to listen to it, it's an 8 o'clock tip. You can listen to it 7:30 pregame on Eagle 98.1. It'll be the voice of the Tigers, Chris Blair, and Final Four head coach John Brady. So let's go, Tigers. Go get a dub. If you missed any of the show today, catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab. All our shows are archived there every day. It's Off the Bench, Live at Lunch, Hunt Palmer Show, as well as AFR. You can also find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, wherever you find your audio. You can find us in as well as on YouTube. My thoughts on LSU Kentucky at the top of the show, 1 o'clock. Koki Riley visited with Jay Johnson as well as Gage Jump earlier today. He kind of talked about those visits in his weekly 115 segment. It was What If Wednesday. We talked perfect day in Chicago. We talked about Louisiana restaurant recommendations, all kinds of things in What If Wednesday. Matthew Bruni talking LSU and Kentucky at 2 o'clock. Saints, Dennis Allen, sound from the NFL Network at 2:15. If you missed that, YouTube Hunt on Saints. All of our Saints coverage archived right there. And SEC Hoops rankings had LSU coming in at number 9. Hope to see you out at the PMAC tonight. If not, we'll see you here same time, same place tomorrow. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. You've been listening to The Hunt Palmer Show.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Support